Education and learning are the cornerstones of personal growth and societal progress. DAKSH is an annual education and career guidance fair hosted by the Student Council at Christ deemed to be University. It focuses on the various opportunities made available to pre-university, undergraduate, and postgraduate students. DAKSH is here to guide students to acquire knowledge and make informed choices on various higher education and careers. Through active participation in the stalls, dialogues with eminent speakers from various disciplines, as well as personalized career counseling sessions, students will be able to learn about various vocations and fields of study they could pursue. On that note, we welcome you to DAKSH 2024, the annual flagship event of Christ deemed to be University. I, Harshita, will be your MC for the day. Plato once said, "Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything." Please join me in welcoming our guest for this session, Mr. Sandeep Pillai. We would also like to welcome Dr. Kishore Babu for giving a token of thanks for your presence today. Our gift hamper is sponsored by Bistro Claytopia, India's first concept cafe. Bistro Claytopia is the melting pot of people from various cultures who share a common passion of blending art with food. At Bistro, they strive to give the best possible experience to all our customers. They are committed to quality, value, and your complete satisfaction. Mr. Sandeep, a seasoned product and user experience designer from NID, transitioned from a corporate career of 20 years to pursue music, entrepreneurship, and meaningful design ventures. He coalesces his deep musical roots with design sensibilities, having composed for films and theatre and winning acclaim in sound design. His homestay venture, Nammakade Estates, thrives in South Coorg. With a penchant for Indian classical music, he collaborates across genres, shaping his band Soul's distinctive Indian classical fusion sound. He is an auditory enthusiast in NID Ahmedabad and Shrishti Institute of Art, Design and Technology. I request our speaker for the day, Mr. Sandeep Pillai, to please come up to the stage to enlighten us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And before I begin, a very happy New Year to all. Yeah. Performing arts, come on. Okay. Happy New Year. Sure. Yeah. So this is a little journey. I thought the best when I was approached. I thought the best thing was to share my story with you because it encompasses all the things that I probably once experienced when I was on campus. We have the same worries, the same queries, the same career guidance programs, and all that. So it's nice to come back to a campus environment again because you feel nostalgic all over again and you go through the same worries. And it's nice to say that now I'm in a position to tell you a story that hopefully can inspire you to say that you can be whatever you want to be in life. Okay? So this is my little journey. Yeah, you can go to the first slide. Before I start, why Eklavya? You all know the story of Eklavya, right? Yeah, so I find myself like Eklavya. So I've had so many gurus, a lot of people, even if it's human beings, from animals, birds, nature, everything was a teacher. So all I need to do was observe and keep myself open to receiving, and I learned a lot just by observing. So I consider myself in the process of becoming Eklavya, and Eklavya is also my stage name because what I am or what I'm transforming into is because of all the gurus and experiences that I've come across in my life, including you guys. You also become a set of a 200 bunch set of gurus inspiring me to do more things. Okay, so that's why Eklavya, and it's my journey. Yeah, first slide. Yeah. Yeah, this is how we've always seen life, right? When people ask you what is life, and life is a circle, what goes around comes around, and all that stuff. But off late, of during this journey, I realized, you can go to the next slide, that for me, life has been a spiral, but a spiral that starts outward in. So you start with a very broad perspective of life, and then as you go towards the center of your life, you start getting more and more focused, and you start focusing on the things that you truly love, and you kind of start philosophizing and convincing yourself that, this is what I want to do, and I want to do things that make me happy, and I want to be happy doing the things I love. Okay? So in this journey, yeah. I went to, I did all my schooling in Belgaum. Any of all have heard of Belgaum? Yeah, so all my schooling was in a nice, lovely convent school called St. Paul's, and we still keep in touch with all the teachers. We also have our, unions every 2 years. We go and meet teachers. Some of them no more, some of them still there, some of them old, but it's wonderful. So I started with Belgaum. I had heard of just engineering, medicine, law, and commerce. That's all. Okay, in Belgaum there was nothing else, and I was lucky that I had a very brave dad who told me that after your 12th you just take a year off. And I was really lucky, where everyone kind of blamed him and said, no, 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 he'll mess up his life, and you better better take care, because I lost my mother when I was in the seventh standard. So there was added pressure on my dad to say that, you need to fill up that gap too. But thank God he gave me that break, because that's when I walked around, met a lot of people, and I discovered NID. I said that, wow, I didn't even know that there are people who make a profession doing logos, or just doing a corporate identity program, and that's a way of living. So NID became my kind of my go-to place, and I was lucky to be there. And I was there for about 5.5 years, and then continued in NID for a small time. I still go back and teach, because sometimes it's always good to go back to your alma mater and kind of contribute, all those learnings that you've. So I encourage you also to do that. Always come back to your college and keep that connect. And from after NID, because product design was really hot, and it was the 1995, 96, 97, that time, and my initial career was with Titan. So I used to design watches. That was what I used to do. All my industrial training was in Titan and all that. And that's the time when the dot-com world started opening up, and there was a great inquiry for information architects. Information architecture became a big thing, and product designers seem to have an edge. So that's when I got into the whole dot-com thing, and I joined a company called Netcraft. Okay, post Netcraft, I was there for a good 4 or 5 years, and then there was a startup which was incubated at Infosys called On Mobile, and I just went there and met these people, because they were doing something in sound and speech recognition, and I was quite fascinated by sound all my life. So I met, and I luckily happened to meet the CEO, and he just asked me one question, why should we hire you? And my only answer was, because I don't know anything about what you do. And that's like a designer's paradise, where you can start everything from scratch, unbiased, and look at everything fresh. So and that was all he asked me, and he said, welcome to On Mobile. And that's how I got into On Mobile, and it was a fantastic run there, and I really had a fabulous time. It was also a cusp of telecom and media coming together. So if you've heard of caller tunes, Kaun Banega Crorepati, Indian Idol voting, Har Seat, Hot Seat. So we were sitting and designing that. That was the time when I was in On Mobile, and some magical work came. So uh, post that, it starts becoming a rut, where you go day in, day out, you go there, and the only thing that's stable in your life is probably your salary, but not your well-being. So that was about 15 years. And in 2010, 10, 11, up to 12. Actually, I went back to On Mobile as a consultant because there were a lot of projects that I'd started, and it was nice to still engage with them from a non-employee kind of status at a consultant level. So I find time to do the things that I love also. And I was there with so 2012. I actually kind of took a break from all that, and I said, no, 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 let me go down the spiral, and I'm getting more and more focused. And what is it that really inspires me? Like, there are things that you can't control the things around you, but at least you can control yourself, and what can I take charge of? So for me, the answer that kept coming back into my soul was music and sound. I was always fascinated by music and sound. It traveled me right through my school, to my NID days, to my corporate days. There was always something that I was doing in sound, whether it was sound design, whether helping people in animation films, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, let me just pursue that with all my hunger. Again, I took that plunge. So I also want to just reflect on one of the most basic, fabulous things that I learned in NID. The whole NID report, why India needed a design institute, was actually set up on something called the Ames report. There were two amazing designers called Charles and Ray Ames, they're a couple, and they wrote the Charles and Ray Ames report, and in which the lota was supposed to be the most, like the whole thing was based on a lota, the shape of a pot, and how when it's small you can hold it in your hand, when it's large you can put it on your others, you can stack it up. It had all the design fabulous things, and they said, this is such a design rich country. India was always a design rich country, with everything was eco conscious and beautifully designed. Everything form always followed function and all that stuff, and they said this is the place where a design institute would really do wonders. So for me, that lota probably stayed in my head forever. I started seeing lotas everywhere. Okay, as I went, and it was always. You can go keep. So I felt these little things. Sometimes you wonder whether they are silent or they are full of noise. Sometimes. So I've always seen them as potential silence. So when you tap it, something emerges from there, and just out of magic. So this lota thing stayed in my head, and I just kept lotofying in my head all the time. Okay. And I kept seeing it in musical instruments. Yeah, next. In all forms. And go back. Yeah, next. And that was also a lota for me. And there was clearly a time when I was seeing two aspects of my brain. Go to the next. All heard of the right and left brain, right? Okay. Next. Yeah, so the left brain is all analytical and math, science, and the works. Everything is clean. But I realized that I was quite a right brain person, existing in a left brain world. Okay, so for me, I had to somewhere find the balance that's going to keep me happy. So yeah, these are all, I'm sure most of you would know this, or a lot of people, now it's all available. Yeah. So I had to find the right balance for me. Yeah, next. So I went back to the spiral, and I said, okay, I'm getting more and more focused. Okay. Yeah. And I started drawing inspiration. What are these? And after a point, I started seeing spirals everywhere. Okay. Yeah, next. You've seen these. These are everyday objects, but you kind of see the same pattern everywhere. I started seeing patterns over and over again. Yeah, next. And this is something we had also had a chance to analyze from a scientific aspect in NID, called we've all heard of the golden rectangle. So there's a certain golden ratio in nature, and you can kind of, it's almost mimicked in a lot of the spiral things, and you will always find it in a very interesting spiral, or the Fibonacci series and all that. It's a lot to talk about, but now I'm just focusing on that. Yeah, next. So this led me to a fantastic aspect in sound called cymatics. This is what keeps me majorly occupied these days. Okay, and it's just visual representation of sound. And now that we have fancy recording equipment like Logic Pro, and I use Logic Pro, it's possible to actually take waveforms and visualize it, see what the waveform looks like. You can actually take a sound and see, you can see the output in terms of visuals. What are the kind of visuals that you get? And I kept doing these experiments. Yeah. So these are some of the early things. There's a person called Chladni. I don't know if many people, do you know about the Chladni plates? He basically took a little metal plate, put some salt, and used a violin bow and just rubbed it along the edge so it creates some sort of a vibration. And all the salt kind of rearranged itself into certain geometric patterns. Okay, that was the basic. But and I started studying these research papers and all that just to see that wow, this was exciting because I started seeing patterns and tried to connect the dots. These are all the pioneers, Hans, Jenny. And I said, wow, this has been happening in our country long before even Chladni was even alive. Okay, because we've had this kolam and rangoli and all happening from time immemorial, and they're all perfect, some sort of mandalas or perfect geometric shapes. And it was purely self-research, and I just started getting deeper and deeper into it, and then started researching. And I started putting the whole thing like I was trying to see if, have you looked through a kaleidoscope? You get the same kind of thing. So I said, what if my life itself is a kaleidoscope? Can I find patterns in that? And I started seeing patterns like this. These are all little sound files that I recorded. And I used to try and see what the visual form is. It used to pop out like that. Okay. And I started seeing in a lot of Mughal patterns. You've seen these little jalis and all those things that happen. I started seeing those things in architecture. Okay, so it was going beyond everything. Yeah, the Jain temples, the churches. Yeah, and there was this person called Nigel Stanford. He was doing some research, and I wrote to him. This was just before when YouTube and all was just coming out. So I wrote to him, and he said there'll be a YouTube exactly what you're talking about. There's something coming, and he sent me this file. So this is one person whose work truly inspired me. He said he was actually a performer trying to visualize sound. So I'll show you the example. Okay. Yeah, can you play that file? These are all real experiments, okay? And this is what I go and teach in NID also now. Is there sound? No, you'll have to pause it because it makes no sense without audio. We can always come back to that, but just go to the next slide, yeah. Yeah. You can dim the lights here a bit, probably. Lights.
The film you're about to see has no characters.
That's a tiny
If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter.
You see the geometry? See the sunflower in it? Magical. Go to the next slide. So I'll leave these links behind with the DAKSH members, so it is available. If you type Nigel, you will get it on YouTube today. So this is the kind of stuff that you can actually visualize sound. Even a small note has a great pattern that emerges. And my this got me into a trip, saying that if I can actually create sound, it got me interested in molecular biology. Like even if you see cell structures and all that, they're all actually very similar. So trying to see if I can actually use sound as healing or therapy, which it is possible. It's limitless because yeah. And these are all the simple notes that I kind of mapped. Uh, yeah, if the piano note B, C, F sharp. So each one has a beautiful pattern like this. Okay, next. I've also been studying the rain cicadas. Okay, this is a pet project of mine which I'm pursuing. Like I've always wondered why does it rain every time in June, July, August? Why is it that every year? And so science has taught us that, yeah, it goes through evaporation, clouds formation, blah, 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 blah. But how every year, same time, why does the cloud doesn't feel like evaporating some other time? So I used to I used to keep asking these questions to myself. And when the lockdown hit, I was in a, I was stuck in a farm in Coorg. I'll tell you a little about that. But for 2 years, I just couldn't go out anywhere. It was just dad and me stuck in this farm. It was a good place to be locked out. But I started observing the rain cicadas. Okay, so you can just go back. Yeah, you can play this file. The first one, the first visual. You can just click the first visual. Yeah, that's the sound. Okay. It's like a yeah. You can go to the next slide. So it's sometimes I feel it is almost like one Chendamelam, like in Kerala, no? So they start the Chenda small and it keeps going higher and higher and higher. So I started mapping all these into the things that I was watching. You can play any file, any file. You can play the next one. So I noticed that these rain cicadas came, and when I started researching them, they spend about 12 to 13 years under the ground, like as if in some sort of meditation or something. And they emerge when they feel they are ready. They come out into the world, and then I think it's the mating call basically. But they're in millions. Okay, every year, same time. And I've noticed that they come and perform for about 2 weeks. Okay, I don't know. It's a coincidence, but the 3 years that I've kind of studied them, they come and perform for 14 days, and generally after 2 weeks it rains. Okay, so I found that really fascinating. And I started mapping all the rain cicada sounds, the recordings, because I used to take a recorder, go and map it, bring it back into my little studio, try and visualize the sound. And I'll just go to, yeah, these are the kind of patterns that the sound of the rain cicadas generate. Okay, and I said, wow, is it something like? And I was trying to connect all the dots, the Nigel Stanford one, and sunflower, and I started writing a fable, because because it's a theory, I'm not a scientist, but it is a pet project of mine. I started saying that probably it is the sound that these, or is this prayer that the rain cicadas do in 14 days, and that's why it rains. So it might sound bizarre, but I said, okay, let me try and write a story that, we've all heard, right? When you take the bee away from the equation, probably even human beings will cease to exist. Like, so even a single bee is very important to nature. So when bees die, in some years, even the human race will die. So there's so much connection. So I said that, wow, if these cicadas were not there, probably there wouldn't be rain. And I started imagining these imaginary stories, which I want to probably put it like a research, which I can work with a scientist and see if there is some sort of connection that I can do. Okay, just to give you this amazing connections. So I'm sharing these stories. This is what I'm currently preoccupied with. Okay. Yeah, go on. And then this led me into looking at old scientific research. I was not very fond of science. I loved biology, but physics, maths, and my God. But actually now I feel, oh, I wish I can go back to school and relearn all that physics, and because now it starts making sense. Nikolai Tesla, what he said. Yeah, these are just some quotes that are. You heard of John Cage? Yeah. Everything in life is vibration. So I said, when the vibration dies, the thing ceases, right? It dies. So, and all vibrations have a pattern. So I'm try and see if I can map those vibrations and do something that can really, be beneficial for life. Okay. This is beautiful. I love this. Like sometimes when you're sitting and you're desperately trying to get some sleep, and some dog will start barking, and you kind of start getting irritated, right? Because when you try to ignore sound is when you start getting irritated. But if you try and listen to the sound and try and see the pattern in the dog bark, or at what beat is it whining or something like that, it starts becoming music. Yeah. So I started seeing a lot of positivity in life because of that. That's where I felt complete. That yeah, I think I'm getting a best, the best of the scientific things and the creative thing. I'm finding my balance here. So my lota was getting balanced. Okay, this is, and I'm just taking a pause here because when I started deciphering all this other two are my childhood friends. We were in school from KG class till 10th standard. Okay. So this is when we had this 10th standard dream that someday when we grow old, we'll look after each other. When we die, we'll bury you. I'll be there. And, let's live happily ever after. And we'll be there for each other. And we ended up actually brainstorming and going and meeting. And we ended up buying a 5-acre farm in Coorg. Okay. Which we called Nammakadu, because when we went there, it was just like a forest. There was nothing there. So Namma is ours and Kadu is forest. And this is what the space looks like now. And I use the space also for a lot of research. Now it's also become a nice little homestay where people can come and do retreats and all that stuff. So yeah, so this is the tree house. Okay. These are two of my other gurus. They're called Inji and Puli. Unfortunately, yeah, Inji is the golden retriever, and Puli is a chocolate lab. And Puli we lost recently to cancer, but they have taught me a lot about, if I can use the most cliche word, but I really mean it when I say that they are the ones who taught me unconditional love. It's unbelievable what they can do to you. So this is a beautiful quote which says, how are we supposed to treat others? There are no others. It's all us. We should treat everyone like the way we'd like to be treated. Okay. And so for me, it was almost an opening up and freeing of mind. My pot is getting beautifully balanced. I was beginning to appreciate life. Okay. Which also led me to what I want to do in music. So Soul E is the band that I have with four like-minded musicians. We came together just for the love of music. One of them I discovered on YouTube, and we ended up when I spoke to him, I got to know that he is also from Belgaum, and he's probably 20 years younger than me, but we all came together for the love of music, and then it's like the how the universe conspires and brings people together, so we do that. And this is the band. So there is Sumit on the extreme left, who plays the tabla. There's myself, there's Deepak Marathe on the harmonium, and Sarfraz, he's a sarangi player, sarangi and vocals, so we all do vocals. And Soul E is also an acronym for sharing our unconditional love, SOUL. Okay, and E is the scale we play in. So that is what the band stands for. Okay, and from that emerged the whole thought of, okay, coming together and doing music. Also was there was a lot of, it was again the rediscovery of Eklavya helping me take this journey. So there's music, there's farming, and I'm also going and teaching at design colleges. I go to regularly at NID. So I found my work life soul balance, and that is what Eklavya is. Okay, I think that's about what I need to tell, and I think I'll show you some work examples. That's the best way. Okay, this is a set of things that I did for Nokia during the lockdown. And 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah. So this is a small series. You've heard of ringback tones and ringtones, right? They're all 30 seconds. So this is what I'd done just for fun, and Nokia liked it. They took it. And in this, there's also Inji and Puli. So that is okay. You can play it. They're all 30-second clips. And this was all done sitting in the tree house. That's a Nokia tune. It'll go. Yeah. Okay. Next one. So uh, I'm just keeping there's actually a lot of examples to show, but keeping the time constraints, I can just show a little clipping of everything, whatever I can, and maybe we can get to the Q&A. So how much time do we have? We're kind of 10 more minutes. Okay. So I've also worked with in this process of discovering sound, as in a lot of you who are in the performing arts discipline, and who are seriously looking to make a career in performing arts and all. I'm saying, I'm classic example. There's a whole world of opportunity out there, and you can exactly do whatever you want to do. Because even if you see education, of course, is just it just gives you that basic. Okay, like if you see Mozart, Beethoven, Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar, all these people lived around the same time. And okay, they became a system of Western classical music, Indian classical music, Hindustani, all that is there. But if you technically see after your training, a lot of people are continuing to do the same thing over and over again. So technically, it's like for the last 200 years, people have only been doing covers. Okay, but the people who've taken that education to kind of do something exciting, like say for example Shobana is one example, who will take say Bharatanatyam or something, but you try and interpret it in wonderful ways where the world is changing. Like people are now, they are not open to like long formats where you can sit and listen to an alap for 1.5 hours and all this. There's no time. Everyone, it's the formats have changed, technology has changed. There is a lot of AI. I'm actually excited also about AI because it's a great tool, but as long as you don't depend on that, But nobody can replace your brain. But if you use it as a tool, it's great. So we are seeing a lot of these challenges coming, but there's a world of opportunity out there, and I've always felt that there are ways, tons of ways to make money. If money is your goal, I have some DJ friends who will probably make all the money that probably a corporate guy would have made in 1 year in the month of December. Okay, so so there are opportunities like that, but it depends on what you want to do. So I'm probably a soul seeker and may not be a best example, saying that I'm chasing the thing, and I want to do specific things that I'm chasing because the road is tough, but I know that I'll eventually get there, and I've always been able to carry out my life peacefully. I'm not really bothered about whether I'll be able to survive, whether there's money to pay EMI, all that. Something happens and it happens. But don't ever lose focus on your dream. Don't stop dreaming. Let that not be a limitation. And I'm specifically saying I don't want you all to also think that performing art is like a hobby where I'll have a main job and then I'll do something like that, because you can. There are a lot of people who do that, but I'm someone who believes that if you're taking the plunge, do it 100% and give it your best. And because each one is unique. Each of us is unique, because if God really wanted all of us to be the same, He would have made all of us look alike. But each of you is unique, and you've got something. There is some spark in you that you need to leave behind in this world. So chase your dreams. Never be afraid to experiment and do. There's tons of opportunity, because now I didn't even hear of a subject called liberal arts. I wish it was there when we were in college. But now you've got, it's a world out there. A world of opportunities. Yeah, this is a Malayalam feature film for a person called TV Chandran, a national award winning director. And this is actually how I got the project. He just sent me visuals and he said, I need you to make an orchestra with the sounds of insects. And I said, oh, nice. And I did that, and that's how I got this project. So I'll just play a little clip. I can't show you the whole thing. Maybe we'll just rush through some examples. Yeah. You can skip all that. Yeah. This is just the title sequence. So today, all this can be done in a 6x4 studio. Okay, you don't even need to have a fancy studio. There are a lot of musician friends I know who are sitting in small rooms and doing orchestral kind of sound. That's how advanced the technology is. goes on. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, this is a for a documentary filmmaker named Swati Dandekar. She's also a faculty of film and video at Srishti. So she made this beautiful documentary on indigo, the whole how indigo is the dye indigo is manufactured, how it is sourced, and the whole story behind how that blue color comes from nature. You know, and these were some of the visuals, some of the title sequence. Yeah. So I like doing all the music and the sound design also. Even the bubble sounds and the birds and so this is a yeah. Yeah, you can go next. Yeah. Yeah, this is again from the same film where the filmmaker had a lot of footage of weaving, you know, of how the fabric is woven and then the indigo dye is put. And she had approached she had approached me, and I said I found so much of the sounds that I needed for the music from the sounds of the weave, you know, or the loom. You know, and she was saying how would you actually use it, and this is what I she gave me a some footage and said that okay, try and apply it and show me because I need to see it to believe it. So I did this for her, and that is how I got this project. Okay, I'll just show you clips of that. It's just a little.
చేయాలనుకుంటే ఇలాంటి ఒక 100 గాని 200 గాని
All the
పెట్టుకోవాలి.
beats that you hear are from the actual loom. Okay. You can increase the volume a bit. Or if it's okay there, it's fine. I'm not hearing. Just want to highlight that. So there's nothing is noise. If you start listening to it, you'll actually get, it cannot be used. It's all loom sounds. Yeah, so just an example of how sound can be used. Yeah. Sometimes I also get animation films. Yeah, sometimes I get these animation films which have got no sound, nothing. It's just a set of visuals, and they say, "Can you put the soundtrack?" So this is one of them. This was all just, it was all silent movie first. So it's a mix of music and sound design. So stuff like that. So where you get visuals and you kind of add in sound and music and all that. I've also created a steam engine sound for a documentary movie when I was in when I went to one of my NID lectures, and the steam engine sound finally they from where I created it was uh, from police sound when he went. So we took that and amplified it, and it became like a steam engine. We just had to add the whoo, and it was. So sometimes you get these amazing sound design cues even from the most mundane sounds. Okay? Yeah, just going. This is just a track. It's a track we created called Fearless. So I'll play this, and then maybe if there's time for some QA, or I'll just probably end it with a little performance for you guys. Yeah. These lights a bit. That's the kind of work we do. Okay. Yeah. So my most recent work is for a famous Padma Shri puppeteer. India is one of the India's most famous puppeteers called Dadi Padamji. So there's a project called Rumiana that is currently doing the rounds. We in this year we've had about 11 shows, and it's currently doing. So I did the music for this. It's almost like a 1 hour musical. So this has been my final project, which is currently going on. We are also opening at the International Theatre Festival in Thrissur in February. Okay. So these are some visuals of Rumiana, and maybe just go to the next slide if there's something. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can just play a little clip of the kind of sound that I did. And with that, I'll end my presentation, right? I think there's just about time. Yeah. There's no sound, I think.
Nirpan Nirvain Akal Murat Ajuni se bhang Guru Prasad Jap
So it's got puppets, it's got audio visual,
Allah
actor.
Allahu Akbar Mera Mawla परवरदिगार सबका मालिक एक
So this is what has been what's going on. This is some of the fun stuff that I also do. Which yeah, you've all been familiar with this. So, so yeah. So I thought, see, you can actually take some very, very serious clips and take so this is the kind of stuff that we also do at NID. So where you yeah, where you take very mundane clips from everyday life and then you combine it with something with a soundtrack that can completely change the whole whole picture. Okay. And I'm saying today we are living in times of the chat GPTs, the chatbots, a lot of AI coming in. But I'm saying embrace it because you can't. If you, the more you reject it, you're going to feel outdated. So use it as a tool, because always believe that it can never replace your the human mind. But it in terms of production or productivity, it is a fabulous tool. So a lot of my assignments now in NID also, because there are a lot of old school people who say, no, AI is bad and don't, because once you're ready and you come out into the world, you will be faced with these challenges because people will say, I want this yesterday, and you need to deliver. So be open about all this. There will be these challenges, but take it with a bang. Always, always, always believe that you guys are unique and you can always chase your dreams. And today we are living in times where you can be whatever you want to be. Okay? With that, I'm signing off. That's Eklavya for you today, as on today. All right. All right. Bye. Yeah, be a humble student all your life. That's the moment you feel you've arrived, you've stopped growing. So there's always till you die, there's something to learn. All right. So
Thank you, sir. We greatly appreciate your insightful session. I'm confident we've gained invaluable insights and extensive knowledge today. I request Mr. Pillai to remain on stage and please accept a token of our appreciation for your inspirational and wise words. I request Dr. Johnny Joseph, Director of the Student Council, to please present our speaker with a memento. Thank you, sir. I now invite Manya Satisha to deliver the vote of thanks.
Perform. Oh, 2-3 minutes. You're going to perform. If there's time, maybe one.
All right.
Uh, there's a file on the laptop. There's a there's a drone. It's called the 432 drone. If you can play it, it's on the desktop. It's if you find it, it's great. Otherwise, it's okay. 2 minutes, maybe maximum 3 minutes, just to give you a glimpse of. Maybe I don't know what to do, but I thought I'll cook up something and then say, okay, let's see if you combine a little bit of blues and Carnatic classical, what will happen? Is that okay? And if it is, and since it's the school of knowledge, so it's a song called Vani Vagadeshwari, and goddess Saraswati is, of course, the god of knowledge. So let me try and see if something can be cooked up. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for having me here today. Thank you, Daksh, and a happy new year to all. It's nostalgic when I come back to campus, because it brings me all the same worries that you had to. I'm just cooking it up, sorry. Happy New Year! எத்தனை ஜன்மம் என கழித்தாலும் எத்தனை ஜன்மம் என கழித்தாலும் இசை ஞானமும் நல்லொழுக்கமும் வேண்டும் எத்தனையும் நீ என கழித்தாலும் இசை ஞானமும் நல்லொழுக்கமும் வேண்டும் அத்தனையும் நீ என கழித்தாலும் அத்தனையும் நீ என கழித்தாலும் அத்தனையும் நீ என கழித்தாலும் அத்தனையும் நீ என கழித்தாலும் என் அருகிலிருந்து ஆண்டிடம் வேண்டும் வாணி வாணி வாகதீஸ்வரி வரமருள்வாய் இசைவாணி வாகதீஸ்வரி வரமருள்வாய் இசைவாணி கலைவாணி வாகதீஸ்வரி ரீ 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 வேணி வேத புஸ்தக பாணி வேணி வேத புஸ்தக பாணி வேணி வேத புஸ்தக பாணி வினைகளாகட்டும் வித்யாரூப வேணி வேத புஸ்தக பாணி வினைகளாகட்டும் வித்யாரூப வாணி வாகதீஸ்வரி வரமருள்வாய் இசைவாணி வாணி 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 வாகதேஸ்வரி Thank you. I just cooked it up. I hope you liked it. And don't ever be afraid. Be fearless about being a performing artist. There's tons of opportunity out there. Just go there and do your thing. Write your own stories. You know, we've studied enough of history, and it's not really changing the world anyways. We're just going and revisiting hatred over and over again. So I think it's time to stop studying history in schools and start writing your own history. You know, you need to change the world, you know, and go out there, spread the message of love and peace. And I think there's nothing that connects better than performing art. I'm a bit biased about that, but music and performing arts can really, really connect the world across borders, across race, across religion, everything. So I hope you all had a good time. I hope you liked what I shared, and wishing you a very happy new year. And thank you, Daksh, and the entire team at Price. It was an honor being here and sharing my little story with you, and it's always inspiring to come back to college. You should also come back too when you have a lot of stories to share with your team. And all the best, all the best. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir, for those delightful tunes. Over to Manya Satesha to deliver the word of thanks.
That brings the proceedings for today to a close. We are extremely grateful to our speaker, Mr. Sandeep Pillai, for enlightening the way to increase our knowledge. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the seamless operation of the event, including the teachers, management, and volunteers. Thank you all for being such a great audience. Hope have a wonderful day ahead.
And all the best in your future. Go out there and do your thing, okay? All the best.
Requesting the students to please be seated as our guest exits. Thank you.
All right. Oh, okay, okay. Bye, bye. Thank you.
That brings us to the end of today's session. This is Harshita signing off.